you everyone for coming out today on a Tuesday. This is our monthly Flip Mastermind. So we see some new faces, some familiar faces. Thank you for coming back every time. I don't know if it's the food or just want to see me. Thank you for coming back. I appreciate it. I want you guys to come back every single time. Thank you for that. We are the Flippers think tank. So it's pretty self-explanatory, right? We want to be a source of information for all you guys to think about flips, how to get started, how to take your business to the next level. So we want to make it pretty much applicable for anyone. New experience, it's okay. We want to take you as part of our group. Feel free to come back and ask questions. We're like a family, so don't be intimidated or anything. We take on anyone to train and to help you get started. The only catch is that we might charge you $30,000 like a fortune builder. But it's free if you give us a deal. So if we do one deal together, it's free. Yeah, so I'm going to go through the slides really quickly before we introduce our special guest speaker. We have a very successful guest speaker that's took us forever to reserve, like a year, right? She's so busy, we couldn't even get her other half, but we now have Diana. We're going to go over her bio a little bit about the projects that she's doing. But before we do that, I'm going to jump through the slides really quick. I'm going to browse through since some of you are new. We want to get everyone up to the page from the far. This is a little bit about our team right here. So we have Ken Chung right there in the back. You want to introduce yourself real quick, Ken?
My name is Ken. I'm a partner of Stronger Moms Properties. I've been working with the team for a couple years now. My background was in taxes and insurance, but I saw a better opportunity working with moms. So I'm here now and we're doing deals. I would like to take this real quick second to invite you guys to the Saturday wholesale workshop.
Super Saturday.
All right, we'll all
hosted by Ken.
join the moms. This Cam.
Yeah, so Ken actually left. Ken left his insurance company to pursue real estate. So he had a very successful insurance business that he just threw behind and wants to make more in real estate. So I'm very glad to have Ken aboard full time. Next we have, before me, I'm going to introduce Pam. Pam Lee is our inspiration behind this whole brand. You guys are probably wondering what is Stronger Moms? And who is a mom? Is there even a mom? Tom's mom. That's my mom, by the way. That was too young to be my mom. That's like my sister. But we brought Tam on about a year ago. We teamed up actually because we wanted to create a brand that people can relate to. Everyone has kids, everyone has a mom, so why not Stronger Moms Properties, right? And we want to build something that's something that you can relate and understand that it's possible to do flips. So you want to share a little bit about yourself, Tam?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tamla, and I've been with Tom and Ken for the last year. We have couples project going on right now, and being here, I feel very blessed, and I know that this is the way to build wealth. I have a background in computer science as a software developer for the last 10 years, but I know that this is the way to do it. Not only helping myself, but I can have a very impact to other people. So I'm glad that you are here, and I'm very excited. Also have a guest speaker tonight, Diana George. She's going to share with us her experience and all her cool projects. All right, thank you.
Awesome. We're very fortunate to have Tam too, so Tam also left her high-paying job to join us for another bigger career. Everyone wants to think about a bigger picture long-term. Okay, so a little bit about myself. I'm a real estate broker. I've been doing real estate since college. So I actually learned real estate in college. That's how I got started. And now I'm a full-time real estate investor. So instead of doing real estate sales, I shift to full-time investing. So we're going to share with you how to be a full-time investor. I'm going to jump to the next slide. So how I got started, back in 2012, I started in Sacramento. So I didn't know anything about flipping. I'm kind of like some of you here who just wanted to learn. There's no meetup groups back then. I didn't want to pay $30,000 fortune builders. So I just reached out to everyone I knew. And I came across Samantha and Judy. Samantha and Judy, they were very impressive because they were two moms and they were in real estate, but they were able to flip houses despite of their busy schedule. So they had a couple kids, they have a needy husband, they have all this going on, but they still managed to flip houses. So I was amazed by that. How can they flip houses part-time? So that's what I wanted to learn, how to flip houses part-time. And they're the one that taught me, so I wanted to kind of give that back. How can we continue this re-education, just teaching each other over and over? Then hopefully one of you will be up here speaking one day, teaching about your flips. So we want to continue this cycle about giving away our knowledge. Okay, so next slide. Our mission is to encourage everyone just to get started. Everyone's probably thinking it's hard to get started since everything's $1 million, but it's actually much easier than you think. It's just a matter of putting the pieces together. So we want everyone to get started. We're going to teach you what we do on an everyday basis to get deals, and we're going to learn from each other. So we are a team. Think of us very informal, very casual. Feel free to interrupt me, ask questions. Just whatever pops in your head. You can ask me what I ate for dinner. Just ask me anything because we want to get to know each other. We are all friends on the same playing field. Okay, next slide. Follow us on Instagram. Who has Instagram? Everyone has Instagram? Can you follow us real quick? Stronger.moms.properties. We're trying to get 1,000 followers at least. We have 200 right now, but maybe 1,000 after tonight. Is that possible? Did I do my math correctly? Maybe not that, but please follow us, like us. Also our Facebook. If you want to see funny pictures of babies all day, follow our Facebook. So check our Instagram. We post funny pictures, all of our projects, keep up to date with what we're doing. I want to check right now to see who followed us. Let's see how many we got out of tonight. How many do you think?
2.
2, you're right. We only got 2. Okay, 2. Let's. How about some more? Real quick. 3. Okay, 4. 6. Okay, that's not bad for one night. How about 10? Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, so support us, follow us, and like all of our pictures. We also have a Facebook group that we want to start a conversation. So that way you can ask questions, or if you have a deal, or if you need help on a deal. The Facebook group is a resource for information just to put things together. So feel free to join our group. It's only $9.99 a month. It's like Netflix. If you want to review deals live too, if you want to see how we do it, we actually record all of our analysis on YouTube. So you can see how we run the comps, how we're running numbers. So you got to go behind the scenes of what we're thinking on our laptop. So if you go to tinyurl.com/Stronger-Moms, that's our YouTube channel. And this will be our agenda today. So first, we're going to, you got to know a little bit about us, and now we want to learn a little bit about you. So we can go around real quick, since it's a pretty big group, but we can go around real quick and just kind of introduce yourself, your name, your background. What would you like to gain out of this group? So real quick, you have, let's say, 15 seconds. Is that enough time? Or 20 seconds? That's too long. That's too long. Okay, 20 seconds. 20 seconds. 20, 30 seconds. We'll make it very quick. So talk as fast as you can. In English, please. You want to go first? You want to go first?
What did I have to say? Sorry.
So your name, your background, and what would you like to gain out of this group? Yeah, background, anything, experience or anything, your job, current job or not. Yeah, so name, experience.
Okay, my name is Dee. It's easier than my real name.
Yeah.
And I just left Retail and I'm making the switch.
Switch to real estate. Okay, awesome. So you want to learn about flips?
Correct.
Investing. Awesome, perfect.
Darlene Sanchez, I have had multiple rentals, and I stopped doing this for a while, so now
Yeah.
I'm coming back.
Coming back. Awesome.
Hello everyone, my name is Frida. I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces. I'm actually a hardware engineer, but I'm basically doing, right now just learning and networking, and we want to partner with people to do deals. So I just want to try and analyzing some deals that come in my way and see how we can partner with people.
All right. Okay, good partners. All right.
I'm Tom, working software, just trying to learn post office, everything, different ways.
Okay, cool.
Hi everyone, it's Alan. I'm in technology field for almost 20 years, so figured out how to start the real estate business.
Okay. Awesome.
My name is Bruce. I work for JP Morgan in wealth management. Just wanted to learn about real estate. Actually, doesn't hurt to know a couple of guys standing up there. Personally. So, and we hang out normally. So.
We're big out there. Mike?
Oh, I guess I'll stand. My name is Michael. I'm actually an entrepreneur and I've been in the tech world for about 20 years. I was invited here by Johnny and Tam, and I'm also a digital marketer, helping a lot of people with digital marketing, chatbots, and that type of thing. So anyone need that, just come help me and help me help you out. And I also want to learn about flipping and what's happening in real estate now as well.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming.
Hi everyone, my name is Ton. I'm a dispatcher for in automotive. I'm just here to learn how to flip houses.
All right.
Hi, my name is Elisa. I'm an investor and I do flips, and sometimes I wholesale some properties too. I used to work for Verizon. I did pricing strategy for them, but now I'm a full-time investor. And I'm here to learn more about real estate investing, and I'm trying to grow my network. So if anyone wants to be added to my network, please let me know. And yeah, I'm just excited to get to know everyone here. Thank you.
All right.
My name is Michaela. I'm with Boxcar Properties. I've been in real estate for the last 3 years and being out of state and working with investors here doing different projects. And so we actually have 2 properties under contract right now. So part of being here is your network in the community, and we're looking for private money lenders. So
Awesome.
mainly what I'm here tonight.
More money. We're finding money tonight. Spencer?
So, my name is Spencer. Day job is in software sales, been doing that for 10 years. On the side, I like to participate on flips. So, looking to connect with a lot of people and see what we might be able to do together.
All right.
Hello, my name is Noel. I'm an entrepreneur in business, and just looking to learn more about real estate and hopefully grow my business.
Awesome.
Hello, my name is Elmer, U.S. Air Force Reserves. Father of 4, came for the food. Connections, bring some deals to you guys.
Nice.
You guys, my name is Brian. I've been in real estate for about 1.5 years now. When I first started, I actually met Tom and Ken. Until the last 2 years I worked with them. I finally quit my job last week to go full-time now. I want to shamelessly promote my staging business, Nova. If you guys need to stage your house, let me know. If you guys are in the Oakland area, I'm starting my real estate meetup in Oakland this Thursday at Mad Oak, 7 to 9. So, hope to see you guys there.
Thursday.
I'm Ray. Got into real estate a couple months ago. Just here to learn more about real estate.
All right. Let's jump to the back real quick, Andy.
I'm Andy. I'm actually, my daytime job is corporate development. We usually acquire a company, but tonight I just want to learn about real estate investment areas.
All right.
My name is Alice. I'm Susan, and now I'm an agent with Villa Cupertino. I'm here to learn how to invest.
Okay, cool.
Great, my name is Ron Mackey. I'm with Finance of America, and I left this lovely flyer here on my vice chair for you. So I provide financing for investors. We will loan up to 90% of the purchase and 95% of the renovation costs. We do this through a line of credit, so it's not tied to each individual purchase has a different separate loan, so you can run multiple projects and properties out of that line of credit. So I'll be around afterwards. If you have questions, come see me.
Awesome.
Oh, one last thing. I got a shameless plug for a buddy of mine who has this app for the Fix and Flip. It's a free app. He's really looking for feedback, so if you download the app, take a look at it. It has a geo device. It'll love the location. Put all the information in for you, helps calculate everything. So give it to him. Give him some feedback for it.
Awesome. I think Ron has a really good program, so we'll go a little bit more detail on how that program works and how it's funded. So we'll go in detail after, okay.
So my name is Sadia. I'm a professional computer engineer working here in Silicon Valley for 10 years. Last year or more, like for 12 months, I founded my company, Certain Content Solutions. I'm planning to become a full-time investor. I did 2 projects this last year, which is one is completed and sold, the other one is in progress. I'm looking to network with agents as well as PMOs, private money lenders. So if you have money to fund our project, please connect me with me after them. Thank you.
All right.
Hi, my name is Tammy. My daytime job is a dental assistant, and I'm just here to learn as much as I can because I have no real estate background.
Awesome.
Okay, my name is Ty. I see familiar faces in here. I've been here a couple times. So I do flips and I'm looking for money. Lending for money now because my money's gone. And I've been in real estate since 2004, but I was in corporate since whenever. But I quit my job last November to manage our projects. So anybody got money, I'll talk to you, Ron.
I'm John. I've been doing flips for about 5 years around San Jose, all of Santa Clara County. I'm mainly here to connect with wholesalers.
Okay.
I'm Cindy. My company is called Sunday on Homes. During the day for a JOB, I work at the University of California in the Recreation Department. So what I know how to do really well is take people kayaking and hiking. What I'm trying to learn how to do really well is flip houses. So I'm a flipper, a wholesale buyer. I'm looking for a wholesaler. What I am seeking, I always have to look at the notes because I forget. I'd really love to get connections for real estate investor-friendly real estate agents in Santa Cruz. Because that's the area where I live and I'm trying to focus right now. I'm also very interested in JVing with people in my area and over here. And of course, private money lenders, I can make you money. I think that's it. Thank you.
My name is Joanne Watkins. My company is Silver Lining Redevelopment. I started with Fortune Builders last May. I'm a little frustrated with the market right now. I'd love to find somebody that I can JV with that maybe has connections with investors. I'm looking for investors, private money lenders, gap funding. And I would love to work with somebody if anyone's looking for someone to partner with.
All right, sure.
Hi everybody, I'm Terry Hill. I'm a builder and developer here in the Bay, and I build homes, I build new homes, and I've been doing this for 17 years. My 7 projects, some of them are including models, commercial and residential, so that's me. And if you have any questions or you would like to find out how we do our business, I can somehow make your business a little bit better. Always definitely get me out because people know these things, I get calls daily. If I can take you somewhere and help you improve and go from A to B, definitely hit me out.
Awesome. Yeah, Terry does a lot of joint ventures, so we're looking for joint ventures with construction and money. That's the guy right there. Okay, next.
Good night, everyone. My name is Carmen. My husband Dan Swanson. We do flipping inside the state, and we're looking here to have the opportunity to connect in the Bay Area to legal over here, with investors, and also private money lending, and basically like we are based outside in Indiana and Minneapolis.
Awesome.
I'm Maria. I'm a local manager in tech, but I'm also in real estate on and off for last 10 plus years. But I decided to refocus now, so it was off for a couple of years. So I really want to start again. So I'll try to networking with the people, and also I have some funds. So if you guys have good projects or if you wholesale deals, just you can.
Very nice. Just found our banker. Your product, right? Let's go. Which way? Which glasses? Left. All you guys have glasses. Left right here. Right? Good. Good. Yeah. Just quick introduction. What's your name, background? What would you like to learn from the group? Just real quick.
Yeah. My name is Jason. I'm new to real estate. I just wanted to get some information.
Okay. Perfect.
Attending this.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. Fernando.
Hey, I'm Fernando. I'm a real estate agent and an investor. Just basically here, I love real estate, learning about different strategies from different wholesale.
All right.
I'm Donald Caverdall. I'm a software engineer by daytime, investor part-time. Been doing it for like a year and a half, almost 2 years. First time I've been to this meeting, so looks very interesting. Interested in networking, always looking for investor-friendly agents and private money lending. The wholesaling thing that you're talking about looks kind of interesting too. So I haven't really focused at all on any wholesaling, even though I know it's available, but I haven't really looked at it. That's very interesting to know. So, yeah, looking to network with others and maybe possible JV deals.
Awesome. Nice to make it. Right in the back.
Hi everyone, I'm Jerry. I heard a lot of people mention the wholesale, but I'm actually almost also a wholesale, but it's for the electronic security product, like a real surveillance. So that's my part-time job. I just started my real estate investment last year, so I just want to learn more from you.
All right.
Hi everyone, my name is Josh. I'm a business owner. I own a screen printing and embroidery company. 7 months ago I decided to start real estate, and I did my first flip, and I bought another house like a month ago. So in 7 months I'm here to learn and meet new people. Actually, by the way, the first house I bought was from Diana. A couple months ago, right? Like 6 months ago, 7 months ago.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And good. I'm here to learn.
Awesome. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
I'm Jake Knight. I'm a full-time investor, and I last year co-founded a digital marketing agency for real estate investors. So if anybody has any questions or anything on digital marketing strategies, be happy to chat. I'm also I just put 2 new deals under contract. One will be tomorrow, San Francisco Mill Valley. So I'm looking for different financing options, hard money and private money. So
You're not going to wholesale that one, huh?
What's that?
You're not going to wholesale that one?
No. These two, I'm very happy these two.
Okay, nice, nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, hi everybody, my name is Vicky. I'm a full-time investor here in the Bay Area, buying, flipping houses, and I'm looking to connect with other wholesalers, JV partners, private money lenders, and hard money we already have, but we can look. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
My name's Fernando Beltran, and I'm working full-time, trying to get out of the 9 to 5. I wanted to go into the wholesaling, but the flipping's also looking very well. So I'm here to absorb, learn as much as possible, and try to leave by 9 to 5 and start wholesaling, flipping, and doing it.
Perfect.
Hi, I'm Lori Lowe, and by day I work with attorneys as paralegal and legal admin, and it's time to kiss that goodbye and move into real estate investing. So that's why I'm here, because I want to, it's time to make a change. So.
Awesome.
My name is Julian Kim. That's my superstar partner at home to watch the kids. Network, and I really enjoyed this meetup in particular. I don't know, with Diana George.
Awesome. We'll jump in the back.
Hi, my name is
Michael, actually work with Tom on a deal right now. We're piling 10 townhouses downtown by Google. Mostly do wholesales, flips. With my partners Adam, Bobby right here. We just did an off market on Evergreen, so if anyone needs deals, you can give us a call, 408-768-2257. Again, 408-768-2257.
You have business cards?
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna come grab one.
All right.
Here's a backpack. I'm Bobby Nilsson, and I'm Adam Obeck. We're with thevalueinvestors.com, and right now we have about six properties under ownership and 2 additional ones that we're wholesaling. So yeah, hired him. So we have about 5 properties that we're rehabbing, 2 that we're wholesaling right now.
Nice.
So if you guys want, please get in touch with us. We come across a lot of properties. We're pretty good at marketing and getting the word out there. We're finding the deals.
Awesome. And you guys broke the record for the highest price fourplex, right, in San Jose?
We did, yeah. I think to this day, we're still the only fourplex to go for over $2 million.
Wow.
That was a big winner too. We got that one for 1.2. We put about 120 into it. And it's at that, yeah. Another home run in Sunnyvale.
So you guys are retired now?
We're actually starting a brokerage next. That's a whole
okay.
So yeah, no, we did about 30 deals last year, and we're looking to ideally double that this year. So we've hired a couple of people on growing the business, and we got probably 7, 8 agents who want to come work with us this one.
When did you start?
It's funny, we're actually fairly new. Bobby left NASA, and I used to just kind of vagabond around the world. So I spent a lot of time overseas, probably 60 countries over the last couple of years. So it's I've been kind of focusing on this. We've been doing this full time now for this 3rd year. Yeah, first year we literally did like 1 property, so we had that proverbial. You're kind of like kicking yourself. Sometimes questioning like your own abilities, your own intelligence, like how savvy am I? Will I actually be able to do this, etc. There's always kind of like that glass wall that I'm sure we've all faced at some point, or as you're trying to get the ball rolling. But yeah, last year I could say we did about 30 deals, and this year we had 7, 8 deals in the last 6 months or so. So it's pretty good what we do.
Very nice.
Thank you very much.
You guys are doing all in the area or it's also out of state?
All in the Bay Area, all in Silicon Valley. You go as far as Concord. We even did one up in like Crockett.
Crockett, I didn't know that was a place. Yeah, we did one in Crockett. We actually wholesaled it to a gentleman we have out there. But yeah. We got some.
Pretty much the area.
The main part of our business is San Jose to Palo Alto. That part right there is kind of the majority.
We like this area. Born and raised, so it's a great town.
Yeah, I love this area.
Yeah. Great down the street, actually. Off Middle Hospital.
Alright, Diana, want to introduce yourself real quick? 10-15 seconds?
Sure.
We'll do a
My
quick
name's
intro.
Diana George. I started in my journey in 2003. I guess I'll get into it more when I sit over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to be here and speak with everyone and you know, kind of, you're always learning in this industry. That's what I love about it. It's always a new challenge. So I'm excited to learn from you guys as well. So thanks for having me tonight.
Of course.
Appreciate it.
Our pleasure, John.
Hi, I'm John Citrino. My day job, I'm manager of Sirius Pacific Fund, which is a local hard money and private money lender. Like you guys in the back room, born and raised. My partner runs our Marin County office. I run the South Bay. We're one of the top 3 hard money lenders in Northern California. This is our rate sheet. We've got all our terms on here. The one thing I'd like to have, I mean, it's all very competitive right now, and I've actually, putting my money where my mouth is. I've got our terms on the card. You can use the back of the card if you don't like our terms, take notes. Hard stock, whatever. Use that bookmark as well. But there's a lot of wholesalers in the room, so I want to point out that we've got a 0 points option wholesaler program. So if you're just going to get in and you're going to, cut the property up, or you want to close it and you got a little bit of cash, we can actually close that loan for you and allow it to be assumable to a qualified experienced flipper. So the individuals of the wholesaler actually, light it up a little bit with some financing in place, kind of solid financing in your own deals. So talk to me after the meetup about that if you're interested. Sounds like there's a really good group here, and I came here to see Diana speak, and we've done business together in the past.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Melissa, a former nurse, became a real estate agent. This actually is the sister city of Keller Williams, San Jose. And it looks like I'm in the right place. And I'm here to learn about investing all this in the city.
Okay, that'd be great.
Ben Cyrus, being in real estate since 2003. You know, just here to get to know other people.
Yeah.
Be able to-
All right, awesome. Thank you for coming. We have a very good group, a lot of experience. A lot of experience everywhere. So experience back there, experience here. So you can kind of pick and choose who you want to learn from. Everyone has a different style, but everyone's pretty open about sharing what they do. So I want to share a little bit about what we do over here. I'm going to jump on our slides. So how you get started flipping is pretty simple. You just have to understand math. Basic common sense math. What is math? If you buy something for a discount, that means a good deal, right? So there's this 70% rule that everyone talks about. You guys probably heard that before, 70% rule. Anyone want to explain real quick what is the 70% rule? Go ahead.
So 70% rule is also called as maximum allowable offer, which means what is your maximum offer could be that could bring you the profit remaining is like 30%. So 30% would hold the holding cost, acquisition cost, reselling cost, your financing cost, and your rehab cost, plus your profit. So any property that we will find to acquire, thinking in mind that I would have to make a profit on it, so it should be 70% off the ARV after a period of the market in that area.
Awesome, great description. Yeah, so basically you want to spread from your resale value with your purchase price. You want a 30% spread. So I want to show you why you want a 30% spread. So if the seller says my house is worth $1 million, what do you offer them? 700, right? 700,000. So why do you offer 700,000? You want 10% for repairs, 10% for closing costs, and then you want to make money too. Unless you want to do it for free, then you can offer 80%. Then you want 10% for profit. So repairs, closing costs, and profit. Pretty simple, right? Repairs, closing costs, profit. Okay, so let's say you buy a house 700,000, 10%, so 100,000 for repairs, 100,000 for closing costs. That's a rough number. It's not always 10%, but 10% will cover most of your costs. So it'll cover your 5% commission to your agent, or 6%, or 1%. The agent kind of fluctuates, right? But average agent commission is 5% for both sides. And then escrow is about 1 to 2%. You have property tax, you have holding costs, and all that. So that's why we rounded off to 10% for the closing costs. So now, if you're working in a smaller market, there's another rule you can also go by. It's about 150K rule. So if the house has 150K spread, you can still make 50,000 nets. So you're going to see a lot of this in Oakland and Hayward and other parts of the Bay Area. Can you buy anything in San Jose for 500K?
No.
Probably not, unless it's a tiny house or something, right? So this only applies for certain markets. So 50,000 for repairs, 50,000 for closing costs, 50,000 for profit. So depending on how much money you want to make, you want to make 50,000, or you want to make 100,000 or 200,000. It kind of depends on your price points. Your price point matters a lot. This is for the South Bay market. So South Bay everything's $1 million, right? So you want a good spread, $250,000 spread. So let's say repairs 100K. That's how you're gonna make 100,000 in South Bay. So how do we find our deals? Everyone's always asking, how do we find deals? I want to go over a little bit about how we find deals. First is email campaign to agents. Email campaign. Has anyone ever used MailChimp before? MailChimp or any email use MailChimp? Yeah. Awesome. How do you like it? It gets pretty expensive when you go over a certain amount of limit. How many agents do you have here in MailChimp?
Well, we did agents together.
Yeah.
Same
this.
600?
Yeah. Okay. So each county has a list of agents, which you can get from title companies, you can get from us, you can get from where else? List of real estate agents. Where else do you get this?
Brokermetrics.
Brokermetrics. Yep. Brokermetrics is a software that brokers sign up for to recruit agents. Where else can you get list of agents? What's that? Realtor Zillow, you get list agents LOS. So just get a list agent, hire the whole list. Or you just take me out to lunch and we'll give you our list. Let's give you the Excel of Santa Clara County, Santa Clara County, whatever county you want. Depending on where you take us, we'll give you that list. Stop giving out free lists. Wholesalers from meetups. So even tonight, there's probably some wholesalers here that are constantly selling deals. Like Bobby, Adam, they always have deals. Any other wholesalers? Can you raise your hand real quick? So we kind of pinpoint who the wholesalers are again. Wholesaler, Bernard right there, wholesaler. Any wholesaler has a deal they want to wholesale tonight? Right now, tonight.
Right now.
Live, auction.
Live auction.
Okay, let's do it. You wanna, actually we'll hang out for a quick second. We'll go through real quick and then we'll go back to your deal. So I'm gonna go through real quick, just really quickly. So Google wholesalers. Has anyone ever seen those websites, We Buy Houses Cash? So most of them are actually what? Wholesalers. Most of them are wholesalers. What if we call one of them tonight? You want to call one of them tonight? Yeah, see if we can get a deal tonight? Okay, let me see if we can find one tonight. Let me see if we find Bobby's website. So We Buy Houses Cash. Which area? Any area you like? Fremont? San Jose? Las Vegas? What's a good area? Santa Cruz. Their bedtime is at 9 p.m. though. Okay. HT Invest, Country Costa. Let's see if we can get a call. So all these are pretty generic websites. You see them all the time. Fortune Builders, yes, you paid $30,000 for that. So let's call this real quick. 408 890.
This website is from Investor Care, not from Fortune Builders.
Oh really?
Yep.
So it costs less.
Yep.
Okay, what's your name? I'm awesome. I don't want to leave a message. 3 was to connect with them, right? I see this couple in every single city.
Yeah.
I think they live everywhere. And they're homeless. Danville, how about Danville? Tim Powers. I don't think they're going to pick up because they have the automated voicemail.
I think you're right, they're sleeping.
Yeah, they're sleeping. How about this number? 925-660-7474. That's a good number. Come on, Tim Powers. WeBuyHouses.com. That's actually a really good website. Tim Powers, how are you doing today? This is Tom. I came across your website because it's so good. We buy houses. I'm also a flipper, and I wanted to connect with you just in case you have more properties you want to unload. So I was curious, do you have any properties right now?
Yeah, I've got a lot of properties right now. So where are you from?
I'm from San Jose. So our company's Bay Area. Yep. Yeah, we have a couple of products in Oakland, San Francisco. We're looking for more because we're going to sell ours this month, so we're ready to buy some more. Do you have any in the Bay Area?
Yeah, pretty much that's my area, but I don't have anything. They're keeping pretty much everything that I get right now.
Yeah.
Because the inventory is so low, you know.
I see. So they're keeping.
I'll keep you in mind if I get something down in San Jose that I can't handle. I'll call you.
Okay, that'd be great. Is it okay if I stay in touch with you maybe once a month just to stay updated?
Yeah, did you shoot me an email with your
Ask him about Santa Cruz.
as part of their contact?
Yeah.
So you see my email right there, it's $2 at right?
Oh yeah, I see right here. Yep. Do you have anything in Santa Cruz then? Anything outside of Bay Area? Because we're going out there too.
Yeah, I have something in Seaside.
Seaside, I like Seaside. I got a lot of free time, so I go there all the time. Yeah, so what's...
Yeah, I have a possible one there, but I'll
Can I get the address and price? Is that okay, or you want to wait until you lock that one up?
Yeah, no, not right now. I actually just got home, so I don't.
Oh. Okay, no worries, no worries. How about? Yeah, sorry about. Yeah, awesome. I'll send you our proof of funds, our projects, and we'll stay in touch.
And then, what is your name again?
My name is Tom. My name is Tom with Stronger Mom Properties. I buy houses with my mom. Tom, T-O-M. Yeah, StrongerMoms.com. That's our website, StrongerMoms.com. You'll see my mom on there. Yeah, so let's stay in touch. I'll call you tomorrow, then we'll get the address and price, and maybe we can work up a deal. Okay, take it then. All right, goodbye. We gotta leave Seaside. Who wants to do Seaside? Seaside? I don't want to go out there. It's too far. I can wholesale to you. But just keep on calling other flippers. They always have properties. Maybe out of your area, another area that they don't want to do. Just like that. Just like Tim Powers. So we'll jump right back to our slide right here. That's my cousin, by the way. Okay, so Google wholesalers, real estate agents. We call real estate agents all the time. We call it all the time. We drop voicemails everywhere. So there's a couple of thousand agents. We keep on calling agents. Any real estate agents here today? 1, 2. Okay, call them. Call them all the time. Call them every night. Call them right now. Right after the meetup. Direct mailers. If you want to do direct mailers, feel free to use our letter. We have a letter template that we send out to homeowners. Use our letters. Use our vendor. Our vendor right now, we got the cost down to about 50 to 60 cents per letter. It's the cheapest that we can get, 50, 60 cents. Anyone can do cheaper than that? For a letter? Bobby, Adam, is it cheaper?
I think the cheapest we're seeing is somewhere in like a 45 to 49.
Really?
Yeah.
49
Okay,
cents.
I want to know your vendor.
I think 49.
Which company is that?
So it's in the real flow. But
Real
you
Flow.
have a choice to choose which letter you want to pick. For
Yeah.
instance, if it's handwritten, it's $1.49.
Yeah.
But if it's a postcard, then it would be 49 cents each.
For a postcard?
Yeah, for
Oh, okay.
postcards.
This one's an envelope.
But yeah, if it's
Yeah.
an envelope, it won't be cheaper than $1 for sure.
Oh, really? So 60 cents pretty good, huh?
Is the 60 cents is good? Is that hand addressed? Probably not hand addressed. Is it at least like machine hand addressed,
Yeah,
where it's
machine hand
made to
addressed.
like look like it?
Yeah, kind of like look alike.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that one there is $1.49.
Yeah.
How about return label? Do they put like an automatic sticker on type thing, like an automatic like the return
They
label
put the-
sticker, or do they actually write it on there?
They put the stamp and then they put the little barcodes on the address, so it kind of blends in.
Interesting.
Yeah. Do we have samples, Tam? Maybe we'll get some samples?
I can go upstairs and
Yeah?
get a sample.
Yeah, let's get some samples
Okay.
and we'll show you guys how that looks. So we do a lot of direct mail. We'll give you our list of properties. We're targeting owner occupied. They bought a long time ago, 10 plus years, low property tax. So we're ready to narrow down what we want. We just need more marketing budget to hit more houses if you want to join us on that. Or you just want to do it on your own, just use our brand, use anything you like, our templates. Use our credit card, you use it. Maybe after. So direct mailers, MOS, Craigslist, ask other flippers. There's so many ways to find deals. It's just a matter of doing it consistently. So that's why we're hosting our wholesale workshop Saturday. So you want to get more live experience, keep on calling people with us kind of behind the scenes and kind of tell you what to say. We're going to do that this Saturday at this office, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can't leave until you get a deal. That's the agreement. Okay, so we did that. We did some live searches. I'm going to run through this part quick because we want to get to Diana's part. So one last thing, how we fund the deal. How we fund the deal, and then maybe Ron and John can help with this part as well, how we fund the deal. So right now we're using Iron Bridge lending. Iron Bridge lending. Let's say we buy a house for $1 million. We only have to down 10%. So how much is 10% of $1 million? 100,000. Who has 100,000 in the bank account tonight? You can lie, just raise your hand. Verify. Okay, everyone raise your hand. Everyone has $100,000. Yes. So what we will do, we'll ask you, hey, you want to partner with us? You can lend us the $100,000. We'll give you 12% interest. Is that a good return?
Yes.
On your money? That's not bad, right? $1,000 a month for doing nothing. That's not too bad.
fortune builder.
What's that? Sounds like fortune builders?
No money in the deal.
Yeah, no money in the deal, yeah. We like to do that. Ron, you want to share a little bit about your program too?
Sure,
So
I'd like to.
this is Ironbridge. So this is it's called hard money. They call it hard money, but it's actually easy to get. It's not that hard to get, and they'll fund your repairs too. So Ron can share his program. It's pretty interesting because it's a little bit different from hard money.
Right, yeah, I guess our big niche is that we do it off of a line of credit. So you open a line of credit, and we look at 4 things. We're going to look at your experience within the last 24 months. We want to know how many flips you've done, rental properties that you have, if you have a real estate license, just your involvement mainly in the last 24 months. After that, we want to look at your net worth. We're going to look at your liquidity, and we're going to look at your FICO score. And from those 4 things, we'll turn out a conditional quote and tell you what the terms are going to be. We only charge 1 point. Our rates start at 6.99 and go up. I can tell you 90% of my clients are between 8.5% and 10.5% interest. I have just a few that are below that. The interest is annualized, so you're only paying for it during the time that you actually borrow it. So if you're borrowing it for 90 days, you pay interest. If it's at 10%, you're really paying it like 2.5%, right? Because you're only paying it for 90 days. So what you own from the line of credit, let's say that you put up, to make this easy, $100,000, then you get a $500,000 line of credit. We loan 5 times that liquidity number. So if the liquidity is cash on hand, self-directed IRA, 401k, whatever it is that you've got that you can pull money out of, we will give a haircut to the IRAs and the 401k as well, like 30% haircut. It's going to be 5 times that number. So if that number is $500,000, 5 times that is $2.5 million line. That money sets to the side. You draw on it. You can run multiple products out of it or multiple properties out of it. We do not move fast. We want to completely underwrite this file before you get into contract. If you get into contract and you call me and say, hey, look, I got to close in 21 days, I'm going to give you John's number. Yeah, I'm not your guy. I can't close in 21 days. It's going to take us 30 days to be able to underwrite that file and take a look at it and make sure everything is in order. All the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. It's a nosebleed, but it's only the nosebleed once. Once you get it set up, you can draw on it. It lasts for 12 months. At the end of the 12 months, as long as you're making your payments on it, you're drawing on it, we'll extend it an 18-month period and then another 18-month period. It just goes on and on. So it's a really unique program. It's a really good program. We'll loan in just about every state. There's 7 states that we don't loan in. Alaska, Utah, Idaho, North and South Dakota, and Vermont. Why, I do not know. But I got a lot of people in the South. Why, I do not know. I mean, money is here, obviously. So that's pretty much it. If you have questions, obviously I'll be here afterwards. And real quick, yes?
Yeah, is there a prepayment penalty
No.
if you pay it off?
No, we use it 90 days. As long as you're at 90 days, if you pay something off early.
90-day minimum per draw.
Yeah, it's 90 day minimum per draw, right.
Loan-
Yeah.
loan origination and what's the prepayment?
Yeah, there's 1 point.
Just 1 point.
Just 1 point.
Thank you for having a 90-day minimum.
Yeah.
We gotta make money somehow.
Right, yeah, there you go. There you go.
Awesome. So that's really cheap money, right? 1 point.
Yeah.
Most of us are paid 2 points, 2, sometimes 3, and you're only down 10%. So that's pretty good. And then the only drawback is it takes a little bit longer, but that's okay. Sometimes the seller wants to take their time to move, so it might work in some circumstances.
It's better just come up early and get it done.
Yeah.
Just come off, because we're gonna go through tax returns, we want to know all that information, like I said, we completely underwrite the file.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
it's a little bit of work, but we'll get through it.
You have 1003s with you right now? We'll pass it out.
What do I have?
1003 loan apps?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I got a website, we can go get in there.
All right. Can we go to John soon? Because I want to hear about your programs. And can you be 1%?
Yes, you can, actually.
Yeah, we actually have a 0-point program.
Oh, nice.
So the way that works is, 75, 80, 90% of purchase, depending upon, whether you're buying fair market value, overpaying, or getting a really good deal.
Yeah.
And depending upon the profit, I primarily underwrite the deal and the profit.
Yeah.
And then secondarily look at the borrower, financials. Most of the people that we're working with are skilled at finding opportunity and transforming it in the value add process. So I'm primarily looking at, is there a profit deal? Because if there is, you're gonna get it done, and then you get paid back.
Okay.
The more experienced you are, the higher leverage will go. So we go to, 80, 85, I'll go 80% all day long. I'm really
0
comfortable
points.
with 80.
0 points?
So, a lot of the lenders around here that, that advertise quick and easy
Yeah.
are at 70%.
Yeah.
We have the same terms at 80.
Gotcha.
I mean, that to put it in perspective. Most of our programs, so if you're looking for a 3-month loan,
Yeah.
1 point. 6-month loan, 1.5.
I see.
12-month loan, 2 points.
Okay.
You do 18, 24 months on a major rehab in Los Altos or something.
Yeah.
And it also depends on the size of the loan. If we're doing a 7-figure loan, a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. The wholesale program, 1% a month. 3-month minimum interest guarantee. If you want to, negotiate down to 1% a month for a longer term deal, like what Don was, is it Ron? Ron was talking about, we'll go, like, 8.5, 9, 9.5, 10, depending, and we can take a point and defer it to when you sell and you take the profit.
Okay.
So,
Awesome.
that's how that works. I don't know if that's all this.
Yeah, that's,
We can underwrite very quickly. I'm loan committee. If you give me the right information, which I've got a short list that you can provide me, I can give you a commitment, in 15 minutes. We can fund within 3 to 5 days. It usually takes longer to get the pre-loan than it does for us to get funds drawn in escrow.
awesome. And then for 10% down, how much would that be? 10% down, experience, 1 year?
That I'm not really wild about going, 90, 100.
Yeah.
That's on a case-by-case basis for people who have got a track record like you guys in that room, maybe this young man over here, maybe yourself.
Yeah.
Not for somebody who's done 1 or 2 deals.
Okay.
Right.
No problem.
But if you've done 1 or 2 deals, we're looking at the deal.
Yeah.
So my saying is if you got the right deal, you don't need money.
Right.
We can arrange the whole capital stack, and that's one of the other value adds that we provide that almost nobody else does. I mean, we're local, we can underwrite very quickly. As Diana, Terrell, several of the people that we've lent money to in the room can attest, have never retraded the deal 2 days before close. Whatever I say in the beginning, even if some of the details change a little bit, we usually honor that commitment and fund. We produce a term sheet up front so that everybody can remember what the deal was. The borrower can remember what we committed to, and we can remember what we committed to. But to make a long story short, we also have, through Sirius Pacific Fund, equity. So like this gentleman over here, if he's looking for money, he's got the right deal, he doesn't have to look any further than us. We can arrange the debt, and we can arrange the equity.
Nice.
And we've done a lot
You
of that.
fund the down payment. So you fund the down payment, right?
That's a privilege that we reserve for our valued repeat clients. It's
Yeah.
not somebody we generally do off the street.
I see.
Somebody comes in off the street and they got a super good deal, we'll
Yeah.
put up half the money on the first deal.
Okay.
All of the financing and half the equity.
All the
That makes
financing,
sense.
half the equity. Okay.
We want to see some skin in the game. So,
Gotcha.
generally we'll go to from 50-50 to 80-20.
Okay.
And we'll let you have 80% of the profit.
Okay, nice.
And we're just looking for a decent fair return on the equity.
Do you ever fund the monthly payments?
We're not the cheapest money, but we're always there.
Yeah.
And once we have a relationship, it's wash, rinse, repeat. Just like what Ron said, there's a little bit of underwriting on the front end,
Yeah.
and after that, we can move very quickly.
Okay, very nice.
All right, thank you
I
for
like
your
that.
time.
I like
Appreciate
that.
it.
What do you do within California, within local?
Yeah, I'm one of the, we're not lending in North Carolina. We do what we do very well.
Yeah.
9-county area in Northern California.
Okay.
I sold apartment complexes for 25 years. I know every intersection.
Yeah.
And I can use that superior real estate knowledge to figure a deal out very quickly
Yeah.
and then commit to it.
Okay.
So you go out and worry about, the labor shortage for construction workers and how you're gonna get your deal done.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. We've got plenty of money here. Let's put deals together. So now the next part.
And we can do a lot of deals just right here in this room. Pretty
Very
exciting.
good. We got Bobby's deal. We're gonna jump into Bobby's deal
Yeah, no,
too.
good.
But
We've done these guys.
we're not gonna talk about the fixing part too much. We'll ask Diana all the questions. We'll save all the questions for her. So get all your questions ready. What we're gonna do now is actually get ready for Diana. So let me pull up your bio or your website. Artemis.
Oh, invest with Artemis.
Invest with Artemis, that's right. Invest with Artemis. To give you an idea of who Diana is. So we're gonna read your bio real quick. We're gonna criticize your bio to see if it's good. The spelling errors. Diana's head of acquisitions, portfolio oversights, about knowledge. Anyone read that? repetition proceeds. You want to read it out loud or everyone read it? I'm not the best reader ever, so oh wow, so you found Vault Realty and you started Century 21, president of Bay Capital Club. What is that?
That was my previous rehab company.
Rehab company, awesome, awesome. So they focus on income properties, real estate. So Diana's actually been flipping for only 6 years, but every single year you've been hitting consistently about $1 million net profits.
Yeah.
Right? So who wants to learn how to make $1 million a year? Let's ask Diana. We're going to ask Diana today how to make $1 million a year. You're a future in Wall Street Journal, Forbes, and you're a woman. That's awesome. We like that. We're seeing more female investors. And not a mom, but you're a woman, right?
Yeah. Not a mom.
Are you open to adopting since you make so much a year, you need some tax write-offs? I'm up for adoption anytime. Okay, and Larissa's your partner. Larissa's your partner.
She couldn't make it.
She couldn't make it today. Also part of the business. She helps out. So actually, you should come up real quick.
Sorry.
I forgot to ask you. Everyone, welcome Diana. Come hang out with us.
Thanks so much, Tom.
We're gonna interrogate you for the next hour.
Interrogating.
Okay, so Larissa's her partner. How long have you been working together?
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah, and her background was actually in tech.
Oh, really?
She was a sales director in software technology.
Yeah.
And then I brought her over to the dark side, and then we've been rehabbing ever since.
Never came back to tech.
Yeah, no more tech, yeah.
Very nice.
So she normally heads, she does a lot of our project management, dealing with the city, the zoning. Her background was in architecture, so she's really good at working with our designers.
Yeah.
And then our structural engineers if that's needed. And so we have a pretty well-oiled machine. Every idea I'm going to share with you today is something all of us, hundreds and thousands of investors have done. It's just the way that, how certain people organize and execute. And so hopefully if I can share my story, that can kind of give you an idea of how to execute your business better.
That'd be great. Yeah, how did you start? A little bit about your background.
Sure, so I started back in 2003. I was in loans at the time when all you needed was a pulse to get financing. And I went through the really rough period of the crash and went out and got my broker license in 2008. And a lot of my friends and family were like, "Are you crazy? This is the worst market to be getting your, to be doing this." And so I actually went and worked for a private equity group, and I was an analyst for them. So what we did is we kind of combined the idea of finding properties with real estate. And then in 4 years after, I started a Vault Realty Group, and my whole focus with Vault Realty Group was I created a team of agents that went out and found opportunities in fixers. And we started pitching those deals to investors. And then one day, one of the real estate agents said, "Hey, why aren't we doing this ourselves? Look at these margins." I'm like, you're right. So my first flip was in 2012. It was a gorgeous 1800 Victorian in West Oakland, and we picked it up for $150. And then we turned around and sold it in 3 months for $380. And him and I each put in 30 grand, and we each walked away with 60. Nice. And at that point, I was completely addicted, and I was like, I love doing this. So my team then searched for deals, and then I sold my company last year to Century 21 and utilized Century 21. They have 400 agents. It's the Realty Alliance Group. And so I have those agents looking for deals for us in addition to my team. And so it's really important to work with agents. And what we offer them is if you find us the deal, we'll give you back a beautifully rehabbed home for a full 6%. And sometimes if we really do well, we give our agents a bonus. Because you gotta take care of your wholesalers and your agents. They're the ones finding you deals. I see a lot of investors kind of skim or try to nickel and dime the realtor. And it's not a good way to keep business consistent. I believe in abundance, so what you put out, you're gonna get back.
And then feel free to ask questions as we're going along too. So feel free to jump in and ask anything. So actually, can I get a picture real quick? I want to sit here and look important. Let's sit back real quick. Let's pretend I'm on a TV show. Yeah, look at me intimately.
I know, it's like this talk show.
Okay, ask me something.
So how long have you been doing this?
Just tonight. I started tonight.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah, thank you.
Have you thought about stand-up comedy?
No.
You definitely should.
Really? Okay, I'll try it. Next week is stand-up comedy. Come see Tom.
With your cousin Lionel.
Yeah. That's right. So I have a list of questions, and then feel free to ask questions as we go along, and then keep on sharing your story too.
Sure, definitely.
Can we see your first property?
Yeah, please. So we have a lot of our projects on here.
Oh yeah, portfolio.
So we have under the portfolio. So if you scroll down, this is one we picked up off market actually. This one right here, yeah, and that's the same house. And if you tag it, you can go back.
Oh, I like that. That's really cool.
Yeah, and so
did Larissa do this with her tech background?
she did. Larissa made our website. Yeah. So
Can we hire her to do just
Larissa's really good at marketing. She does all that. So we bought this house completely.
I have a lot of fun with this. Wow. Can
Yeah.
I would love to do that on my day.
That's amazing though, I mean, it's right on top, so.
So this house we bought down to the studs, and that project actually cost us about $130.
$130.
Yeah, it's really good. We average about $60 to $70 a square foot.
Yeah.
That's why I can't afford Terrial. But he does some of the most beautiful work I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He's definitely a good guy to work with. He does beautiful work.
Can we pull up the address on this one?
Yeah, so this one is, oh my gosh, what
Or
was
you
the
wanna
address?
pull
If you
the-
scroll up, I think it might be there.
This one?
3272 Dakota Street.
3272 Dakota.
Or you can play the video if you want. We have great music on there.
Yeah. Dakota, how do you spell that?
D-A-K-O-T.
Okay, Google
Well,
will
that should
correct
work.
me.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, Google is smarter than me. Okay, let's look at this. So we're gonna look at how much you bought it for.
It was off market, but we'll see if it shows.
Okay.
This one we crushed it. We picked this one up for $350.
$350.
Yeah.
Wow, how
And
so?
sold it for $1 million.
$350, man. And that's you.
Yeah, I dual agent it.
Yeah.
So and then
So you're the listing agent and.
I co-listed it.
Oh,
I
you
gave it to my
co-listed
other agent.
Yeah.
I don't like to list my own flips.
Right.
But I had her list it, and then
Nice.
I was just so we sold it for $965, and then we put about $125 into it.
That's it, huh?
So we did pretty well on that one.
Let's see what you can get from 125 in Oakland. Your budget is 125. It's kind of loud, huh? I like it. We can dance. Yeah, there you go.
You're the glow sticks. All right.
Yeah.
So stage 19 staged it.
Stage 19. How much is that?
How much was she? I think she was $2,700 on this project.
700. That's not bad, huh?
So we had a loft area that we converted, and that's Carrera marble we picked up for Activated Expo. It's like $280 for a 10-foot slab. And the basement area, this was 1 foot away from being legal height, but we still staged it and it did really well.
So it was not legalized.
We couldn't permit that as legal space, yeah. the outdoor space was very sloped and went into a creek.
Yeah.
And so what we did is we called our structural engineer out, and we were like, we need a massive deck for outdoor space.
Yeah.
Something, you know, even if like a family was to live there, their kids could play.
Mhm.
So we blew out a 550 square foot redwood deck.
Wow.
And so it really added, because if we had sold it with just the yard the way it was, I don't think we would have gotten.
That's just right.
Yeah, I think we would have probably did 780 maybe.
Yeah.
So adding that deck
Made a
just
big difference.
made a huge difference.
How much
yeah.
did that deck cost?
Gosh, I think it was like 22 grand.
Not too bad?
Yeah.
Not too bad, huh?
It wasn't bad.
Can we get the lights on real quick?
And you made it at 150 because of it.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, yeah, and that's how we looked at it. You know, we didn't know it was going to bring us that big of a return, but you know, we thought, okay, maybe we'll make 2 or 3 times,
Yeah.
and it actually gave us so much more than that.
What was your estimated ARV?
750.
And you got 9?
I'm really conservative, which annoys a lot of investors. You can ask them. They're like, she's so annoying with her conservative values. But I'd rather be conservative than, you know, there's some people, they pitch you these deals and there's no way that can possibly happen. But on the flip side, being too conservative, you can lose good deals too, which I have, because I'm like, no. And we kind of changed our business plan last year. We were doing 10 to 12 flips a year, and then what we started doing is, because we were getting so many deals and we would kind of cherry pick. So for example, last year we only did 7 rehabs, but you know, we netted 7 figures.
Wow.
So for us, that was working smarter, not harder. Then there's a lot of investors you hear out there that are getting into, there's this one guy we know, he's into entitling land, and I mean, there's all these really awesome ways to make money out there, and it's just a matter of just being creative and finding what your niche is and running with it. I was wholesaling for a long time, and then it's so stressful. I don't know how you guys do it. I'd rather deal with houses. But yeah, so I've been doing this for 6 years, and it's been a solid run.
Yeah. How was your first year when you just got started? So how did you get funding? How did you kind of put your
gosh, yeah. So our first year I was working with a company out of Florida named Aegis, and they gave us 100% financing. But
Aegis?
but they took a lot. It was expensive.
It's like 50-50 split with that?
Yeah, not 50, it was, I think they took like 10% equity, but we still did really
equity?
well. Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Well, this was back in 2012, so no one was really rehabbing.
Oh, no one wanted to fund, yeah.
Yeah, and it was such a low loan amount, I think it was like 150 grand.
Nice.
Yeah, and then my second deal, I started working with a company called Ironbridge, and I've been working with Richard for 6 years.
Nice.
There was one deal he would not touch. It was a duplex in the Laurel District in Oakland. And I was so mad, because I'm like, this thing is a winner. And he's like, I can't do it, I'm sorry. So I called John, and John did it for me, and he was awesome, and he closed it super quick, and we ended up making, we call it a snack because it was like a 6-week REIT flip. So we ended up making $75K in 6 weeks,
Not
which
bad.
I would not have made if I hadn't known John. And so he was awesome. He helped us out
Did you
big
give
time
him
on
a
that.
bonus for that?
I did not. I'm giving him a shout out today. 5 years later, I'm giving him a shout out.
We'll share half that bonus later.
I still give Ironbridge a lot of heartache for that.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember that duplex 5 years ago? They're like, get over it. But yeah, it's important to have really good lending connections. Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Sure. It's really important that when you're talking to a broker, to an agent, and you're having right now, it's amazing how you come to that, especially at the listing end. So I have a specific question on the property that you did the first one. I think you said the corner one right now.
Yeah.
So you put it first on the market at 869 or something. Then you saw something and you went down by almost $100,000. But then you were able to sell it at the one. Can you talk a little bit more about it, because I think it's never-ending question. How much do we have to list it at in order for us to get them all?
Just drop down.
Yeah. So what happened was initially an agent had come to us and said, I have these clients that want to buy it for 1.1. So we were like, what? So we initially put it in. My instinct was initially go 760, because that was actually really close to a freeway. You couldn't see it, but you could hear it. So, and yeah, right next to 580. And I would joke around and tell people it was like, just pretend it's the ocean. But it didn't actually go over too well. So we put it up really high, and then we were actually getting lowball offers. So I was like, you know what? No. I know better than this. I've been doing this a long time. So I dropped the price down to the 7s, and sure enough, everyone just started, it just became a bidding war. And actually the couple that bought it was all cash, and they were like this young tech couple. And I was like, wow, okay, cool, you guys wanna buy my house? Okay.
So how long you were staying in that high end, how many weeks did you end up staying in that?
I was only there for, after 1 week, I knew, because the market dictates, so you have to listen to the market, don't be stubborn. A lot of people.
Isn't there, it's like a 17-day rule?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on it? A lot of people aren't familiar. And that's one of the problems that we, the biggest mistakes we see, the people that we went to.
Well, the problem is people just get so, we get kind of wrapped up in this idea of, I have to make this much, or it's worth this much, and that's when you allow emotion to get the best of you. So I always tell people, step out, don't be emotional. To the 17-day rule, if you're not getting any kind of traffic, you need to definitely drop your price. And so that's why you'll see houses sit for months, and then immediately, what do you think? There's something wrong with the property, and then you lose this whole market. So for us, we changed gears really fast, because in Oakland right now, our market is so hot, it's all San Francisco buyers. So for me to see 3 or 4 days of crickets tells me I priced terribly wrong. And you have to accept that, you know what, I was wrong, it's fine, I'll drop the price and I'll bounce back. But a lot of people are scared to drop price. They think once I drop, then that's it. And not in this market, there's zero inventory, people are so hungry, and this is a unique opportunity where you can make those mistakes. Because in other markets, if you make that kind of mistake, you're gonna lose your shirt, or your pants, or whatever they say.
So follow up on that, so would you, looking at that right now, looking at what you guys are doing right now, would you start always low?
Yes, I start so low now.
You know, like this is very
Yeah, I start low. And there's a woman I totally admire her. They call her the Queen of Oakmore. She's in Oakland, Regina Jacobs. She's an incredible real estate agent. You know who she is. And she will list so low. She listed a property in Oakmore for $1,050,000. And we walked it and we're like, all right, this is gonna, we're kind of playing the prices right. We're like 1.5, 1.6. She sold that thing for 1.9. It went 900,000 over asking in Oakland. So believe it or not, pricing low right now is actually the best strategy. Where I am in Oakland and Berkeley, San Francisco area, I know you guys have an incredibly hot market as well. You guys are very expensive out here compared to us. So I don't know how it works out here, but I'm assuming it may be the same.
The same.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you take what percentage below ARV? So you are, because you're never listing your house, like even at the ARV, the top below at the, what percentage, 10%, 5%?
Oh, how much further?
Below ARV for the listing price after you.
Oh, so generally,
Is there any formula or just?
there's no formula, I just kind of randomly think.
Gut feelings.
Maybe like, if my rule is the 200,000 rule. I just listed our property in the Laurel District that we held it, so we lived in it for 3 years. We picked it up for $350, we put $140 into it. And I listed it at $689, knowing that the record-breaking listing in that neighborhood at the time was $865. This was just 2 months ago. We got $1,032,000. We set a whole new record, and it went about $361,000 over asking. And so that's when I say this is a really unique time. You can make mistakes right now. It's a unique time in our industry.
How do you ensure that the appraisal comes in, or do you only work with cash buyers? Because I just recently encountered a very unique situation. I would love to share that experience because I don't want anybody else to go through it. But I would just first like to pick your brain on how do you do that?
Sure. So appraisers can make or break you, absolutely. What I have found is my agents, I've trained them, you need to be at that appraisal. I don't care what your day looks like, you have to be there. I'll never forget, I had this house, we've just rehabbed it in Fruitvale, and we got an offer of $575. The highest sales price in the neighborhood at the time was $485. So I was like, oh boy, we are way over the mark on this. $90,000, and that could make or break you. And this is before things were going non-contingent. Because once it's non-contingent, that's where a lot of people are headed right now, is they're pushing that non-contingent.
I share that, that's the
Yeah.
mistake again.
Yeah, and so what happened was, and this is kind of a silly story, but I told my agent, you need to be there. So he met with the guy, and the guy's like, I just don't see how this is gonna happen. And they hung out, and then he showed him on his computer, because here's the thing, when we're doing our comps, we stay within, especially in certain neighborhoods, you stay within your district, you stay within a radius, you don't pass really busy streets because that could be, or freeways, because that's a whole different area, right? That could change your value by 300,000. But appraisers, that's the advantage we have as flippers, they do a 1 mile radius. And in Oakland, you know, you can be in the worst part of Oakland and they're pulling comps over here, or the best part of Oakland and they're pulling comps over there. So what my agent did is he knew that strategy, and he went in and showed the guy, you know, comps that were selling for $625 and $590 in different neighborhoods, even though it was within 3/4 of a mile radius. And that's a strategy you can use, because when you're rehabbing, you always want to stay within the radius of where you're flipping. You never want to go outside that. That's how you know your exact numbers. And with appraisers, they just, you know, they're not as conservative as we are, and that's a good thing.
They don't know the market as well.
They don't know the market as well
I'll
as we do.
just share something which
Sure,
might be of great
please.
value to everybody. So we recently I took a property in Belmont. We bought the property back in October, and then we flipped it. The highest comp on the street was about 1.6. We were comping our property to be at 1.65, maybe 1.7. The property, we did an amazing job turning around the property. We're back on the market in January. We got a non-contingent offer right before our open house, non-contingent 1.85. We were like, all right, this is cool, you know. We went over their documents, we spoke to their lender, we had an agent go out for the appraisal. The appraisal came down at 175, $100,000 short. And now we're going back and forth. Sorry?
Did they have their EMD in?
They had their EMD in,
Okay.
$50,000 EMD in. But now, one technical problem that I forgot to mention, there was a death on the property when we bought it. There was a death on the property, right? So now the property went pending in 4 days without any contingency, and we're thinking we have a winner here. The people don't have the money to come up and pay the difference.
Yep.
Now you're stuck, what do you do with this? So it's always, before taking the suggestions, what learning we took from there, we took the deal. Of course, we didn't take it at $100,000 short, we took it at a $45,000 short. We made the ends work everywhere, you know, whatever money we could pull in, but we still had to take a hit of $45,000 on a project that you've been working your ass off for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
5 months, right? It hurts.
What we did
So-
on Loma Vista is, the people that ended up buying our property, they gave, their agent gave me a letter stating that they would go, what was it, $250,000 over whatever the appraisal. If the appraisal came in 250 short, that would be their contingency, so they had the money. So that was his way of reassuring me, you know, because all of us at that time were like, how is this gonna appraise? We all thought that, and it did. I actually ended up meeting with the appraiser, and it turned out he was an investor, so it behooved him to have the prices go up. But another thing you can do is ask for that contingency on the appraisal, say, I need to make sure if we come in 100K short, you have the cash and you're willing to do that, because if
We
not.
spoke to the lenders, we pretty much did everything on the book.
Yeah.
Now, what we have decided going forward, because we are generally, our company which does our realist are very strong, they do hella marketing on the property. So what we've decided is we're gonna basically ask the lender to share the documents with our finance guy, where he can see all the papers and see if there is, we do our own conservative appraisal on the property with a non-contingent offer, and see they have a difference along with their down payment and the reserves, because the reserves played a big role here.
huge,
Chase
yeah.
didn't want to go up because they didn't have enough reserves on the thing, so.
Yeah,
That's
they were
something that you
maxed out.
could probably
Yeah.
do, look for the gap, down payment reserves and the short appraisal. You just find that whole thing and look at
Yeah,
it.
because I mean, right now, a lot of people are paying way over the value.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and they can't.
Yeah.
If they can't, they can't. Like,
Yeah.
if we had a choice either to go litigation, mitigation, mediation, sorry, but then we had a debt on the property, people would come back and say, hey, what happened? You went pending, and then the transaction fell through, and now you're in the escrow for a longer period because you have to get out of that mediation first.
And it's gonna cost you $20,000-$30,000. The point is, high value, it probably sounds like nothing to most of you. But when I do get comments, which is rare, from a borrower to justify or show why they're paying what they're paying, or their ARV, they usually send me an MLS, a list of MLS things. You know what, that means nothing to me, and I don't have time to click on every one of those and try to figure out, like the appraiser, I may not know one side of one school district from the next. What you need to do is you need to take the three most comparable to your case, whether it's justifying your purchase or your after appraised value. Do the full page on that, and then write a little, take 15, 20 minutes and say, comp number 1 is the most comparable for this reason. Comp number 2, not the same school district, because people don't know when people are busy, and you would shine. That's the difference between getting a 9% interest rate and a 10% interest rate. That's one thing. The only thing I want to add, I think that what we're going to see moving forward is not so much the problem with the appraisals, because I think the market's starting to level off somewhat. And so you're going to start seeing now a history of established costs, where I think most of you are going to be challenged this next 6 months when you're moving forward from the construction costs. And what I see consistently are budgets where it's the guy's best friend and his 64 cousins, and nobody can do it for that price other than the guy's best friend and his 64 cousins. And then they get in a fight 2 weeks after they buy the property. And they've got to go out and hire a real contractor, and the budget's 50 or 100% more. I would recommend that you come in with a budget that's 50 or 100% more, and if you can do it for less, you don't spend as much money, you get money back. Because one of the problems you're going to have is called broken construction, or in title it's called mid-construction, is once that, like Ron is financing 95% of the construction, we're financing 100% of construction. If you said construction is going to be $350,000, and it ends up being $500,000, and I think a lot of them will, where's that $150,000 going to come from? Once we've made that loan for $350,000, and you started construction, we can't get title insurance on anything that we lend after that. Because the mechanics liens go back to the date of the first start of the job, which might be putting the porta potty and a fence out in front. So it'd be better to get a construction loan for $500,000, have it come in at, you go over budget from $350,000 to $400,000, but you don't have to shut your project down and wait and get indemnities and all the things that you're going to need to get a title insurance. You're wrong.
100%.
And that's not come up yet, but that's the future that we're looking at.
Right.
I'm just giving you the shot over the bow so you can.
Now, I'll say this, that in Oregon, we're seeing 45 days to get an appraisal. So you think something can throw a cog in the process, it's construction problems, it's the appraisal problems, so yeah, he's 100% right. Overestimate on your repairs, because we put that money in escrow, and then you pay your contractors out of escrow, right? If you run out of money, then what are you gonna do, right?
Yeah, speaking of that,
You can get another loan, but that person's going to go for title insurance.
so how do you guys manage your repair budget? So let's say your repair budget, how do you find contractors, how do you manage your budget? That's a big project for $120,000.
Yeah, so one of the
You might hire them.
biggest projects we just did was in the Oakland Hills, and we took off the entire roof.
Entire roof, can we look it up?
Yeah, it's
Let's check
actually on the blog.
It's not a problem if you go over budget, you can take it out of your
So
wallet.
if you go to blog, yeah, there you go.
Which they have probably.
All right.
So this is our house we just listed.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, more of those. There you go. There, go up one more. This one, there you go. That one's.
Nice. Nice job.
So this house again was given to us off market from an agent, and this property we picked up for $250 off market, and then they're listing it, and we actually took offers today, so I'm not sure where we landed, but last time I spoke to her, she said we were at $450.
450.
And that was only a $55,000 rehab.
Nice. What's the address of this one?
It's gorgeous.
I thought you asked the address of the contractor.
So the one, I think it's all the way at the bottom. So
1167?
Oh, that's 1157 77th Avenue.
This one, right?
Yeah, that's East Oakland.
So 1157 65th?
Yeah, 77th.
77th Avenue?
Yeah.
Is that a good area or
It's East Oakland.
free drugs in the street?
It's not the greatest.
Okay, let's see. Let's go back. Let's examine this neighborhood. Do you feel safe here? Do you feel like you're gonna get robbed? Gated bars, auto mechanic shop, drive by right
This
here.
guy's always working. This guy right here is always working on cars, but they don't have license plates on them. So.
This actually hit 450. 450 for this area, right?
Yeah. That.
Wow, that's pretty good for a not so good area.
So that one was a 2-month project. That's going to be 107.
So you bought it for $250, and then put in how much again for repairs?
56.
Bought for $250, put in 56. So let's round off 60,000. So you're at 310 roughly.
Yeah.
So for 450. That's a good spread.
It's really good. Yeah. So we did really well on that one,
Wow.
and which we did not think.
Would you do that again in this type of neighborhood? Are you not concerned about the neighborhood? Or?
No, I mean I'll go if if the numbers work and
Yeah.
it's something that quick where it's 2 months, it makes sense.
Did that ARV support 450 or?
My ARV on this was 410.
410, that's it?
Yeah.
So even at 410, you'll be happy. You'll make like 70, 80 grand.
That's what we thought, like a quick 2 months, and then we'll go in.
Okay.
But yeah.
Is that a cosmetic?
It was cosmetic. Yeah.
If you had to break up in terms of the percentage of where you're getting the leads from, your deals from, what would be the top 3?
Real estate agents,
What are their
wholesalers. They're just all on my team. Real estate agents, wholesalers, and then our website. We do social media ads.
Really?
And so on Facebook, we launched one for the first time about a week ago, and we got 6 properties pitched to us in the first week.
Really?
Granted, a lot of them weren't the greatest.
Yeah.
But it's still exciting to see that kind of response. And then we actually got a call from a wholesaler today who coincidentally knew you.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's cool. And so, so I'd say 80% is probably 75% real estate agents.
Off market?
Yeah, off and on. Last year, 70% of what we got was on the MLS, and 30% was off market. And then majority comes from real estate agents, social media ads, and wholesalers. Wholesalers play a big part too. We work with a lot of wholesalers.
The social media ads which you talked about a week ago, you got 6 leads from that. So were these sellers or were there other investment groups who wanted to give you the leads?
4 of them were real estate agents. 1 was a homeowner, and then 1 was a wholesaler. So yeah, in majority, and we call it our guaranteed listing program. So we pitched it to realtors, which is if you get us a deal, you can create your own inventory. Because, then we're gonna give you back this beautifully remodeled home at a full 6%. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You copy your verbiage, I'm gonna copy and paste.
There you go.
That's our website. I like it. So when you advertise on social media, are you talking about Facebook ads or Instagram ads or
Mainly
LinkedIn?
Facebook.
Facebook ads to target real estate agents.
Yeah.
Nice. That's
Yeah,
a good idea.
it works really well.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna try that.
The other thing you guys can do, and I did this when I had my brokerage. and I'm happy to give you phone numbers and names. There's Joe Sutherland, he's at WFG Title in Danville, and he connected us with Title Pro and then got us, it's called Black Knight Data. And so with that, you can pull up NODs, you can pull up empty nesters. It's a very analytical, it's very analytical.
Is that a website or a program?
It's a software, and and it's, if you buy into it, so if you do the specialized premium, which is, the NODs, it's about 8 cents a lead.
Yeah.
And what we would do is, we would populate those. We would have, one of my agents was doing the TLO, which is, you can scrub for the phone numbers.
Right.
I had one guy that was door knocking, but then he told me if we cold call, we're gonna hit way more houses, and it's a numbers game. So when you're cold calling, you could do 50 to 100 a day, versus if you're door knocking, I mean, honestly, you could probably reach about 6 people a day, and it's so time consuming and tiring. So what we did was, I hired a VA, virtual assistant in the Philippines. It was $5 an hour, and she would cold call for us.
All the seller leads.
All the seller leads.
Yeah.
And then she would text me or call me and say, hey, so-and-so wants to meet with you. And then I'd go walk the property, and if it was a win, for us, the beauty of being a real estate agent and an investor is, if there's a margin in it, great. I get the property, I can flip it, I can give it to one of my agents to list. If there's no margin in it, then I can offer to list it or give it to one of my agents. So it's a win-win no matter how you do it. So if you're a real estate agent, it's a really good strategy, because you create your own listings by either getting the listing or you're getting a rehab. And then what you can do is take that and potentially pitch it to investors that you know. And realtors who have fixers that are off market are gold.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what everyone's looking for.
So you buy the list. How did that list compare to Property Radar and those of default?
That one's really good too.
It's all the
Yeah,
same,
it's all the
or-
same. Yeah, I mean, I like Black Knight because it's so specific and so
Yeah.
analytical, and it gives you all the information.
Yeah.
So it just depends. I mean, I've heard, we used to use Property, Property Radar back in 2012 to 2014, and then recently we switched over to Black Knight in the last year.
Yeah.
Which is really good.
So what are the list do you buy? Oh, question?
Oh, sure.
So when you were doing cold calling, what do you exactly say? How did you get the number? Because a lot of times people really get angry and they're like,
Well, so we targeted it. So we were going after NODs, notice of default, which means they had 90 days, and in some cases, these people had like 60 days. And I would have one of my agents who were more like emotionally connected, because I'm bad. I'm like, oh, I can buy your house. So I would have one of my other agents who would be, she was really good at kind of saying, I'm really sorry this is happening to you. At the end of the day, these people don't want to lose their home, but what you have to tell them is, listen, I can buy it from you, and you're better off doing this than having a foreclosure that's going to be on your credit report for the next 10 years, and it's just going to tarnish your credit. Or, I can bring in these investors and they're happy to buy it from you. And we found that the response was mainly positive. I mean, every now and then you get people be like, drop an F-bomb, don't call me, I hate you.
how did you get my number? Through an agent or what?
Well, the thing is, banks release that information. So NOD is not
I know
something,
it's public,
yeah,
but
it's
just-
public. So
A lot of people don't know, so they're like, are you stalking me?
yeah, so what we would call is, we say, we're partnering with the bank. We're partners with these, with the lender and investors, and we understand that, you may be losing your home in 90 days, and, we're here, we can buy it from you, we're happy to help you. And then you kind of get more information. A lot of the information is in Black Knight. Like, it tells you how much they owe, how much they're defaulting for. And so you can come in and, you're kind of saving the day. It's a win-win, because you get them out of foreclosure, and then you are getting yourself a fixer that can be a significant return. So it is a win-win. And it's just, you have to approach these people with empathy. Yeah, because it is, losing your house is just, it's a very hard thing to go through. But if you come at them like, I'm here to help you, which is true, you are. And then the other side to it is empty nesters. They analyze empty nesters. So what happens with a lot of people when they're empty nest is they downgrade. right? It's like these two parents have this huge home, all their kids are gone. So what they end up doing is they downgrade, and chances are they probably didn't make any updates to that property. Those houses are great because they tend to be cosmetic fixers. We love those. We don't have to deal with permits or well, we pull permits on cosmetic, but it's not as extensive with the cities that you're dealing with. So that's another option, is empty nest. Another option is most people buy and sell their home every 5 to 7 years. Chances are if they go past 7, they're gonna live in it for 15 to 20 years. So if you can get that market too, that's another market you can go after. And one of my other agents, she's awesome. I work with agents in all different companies. So I'm at Century 21, but I have agents at Daniel Winkler's office, Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker. And she drives around and looks at dilapidated homes, and she knocks on the door. And she'll leave them a letter if they're not home. It just says, if you're interested in selling your house as is, we'll buy it. You know?
And that's okay, it's not like trespass.
As long as you don't put it in their mailbox, that's a federal offense.
I'm sorry, what?
Do not put it in their mailbox. That's considered federal offense. So just leave it on their doorstep.
But what if you're walking on their property and?
No, you can walk on their property. Like you're just asking if they want to sell their house. It's okay. It's kind of soliciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but soliciting is not a crime. And you know, a lot of times people are receptive, or they'll be like, no, we're not selling. They're not generally mean. And then if they're not home, my agent, I mean, we picked up a house in West Oakland like that, and we did really good on it. And the guy was so happy. And then we ended up representing him as a buyer in Stockton. So he got all cash and then bought free and clear in Stockton, which we're seeing a lot of right now.
So it sounds like you're doing a lot of agent commissions as well. You get a lot of listings. So from those market tactics, are you getting 50% listings, 50% sellers directly?
We
or
do.
What's the ratio now?
Majority, we do, on the listing side, we're averaging maybe like 3 a quarter, nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
And then on the rehab side, we're averaging about 2 to 3 off market per quarter, which is great.
Yeah. Okay.
And then sometimes if the margin's not there, we don't go after it, or I'll give it to one of my teammates to list.
Okay.
Yeah. So either way, you have revenue coming in.
Right, you get a referral.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah.
I have a question about the wholesalers. What is the minimum or the maximum on average do you pay to wholesalers? Because I'm finding wholesalers where I do not see a potential in their listing because it's not giving me any profit, 2% return on investment or 3%, so I just move on. But how do you?
So a good wholesaler is someone who is probably gonna make 50 to 60 grand a pop, if not more, and you're gonna make 10 to 12%. That is a great wholesaler, and those are generally the kind of people I work with. The wholesalers that are just making a ton of money and they're giving you a 2%, you're not gonna buy it.
Exactly. So
And it's
that's
just gonna sit. We bought a lot of wholesale deals where I mean, surprisingly thought we were gonna make 12 and ended up making, we bought one, it was I'll never forget, this is one of my favorite houses. It was an 1885 Queen Anne Victorian. It was 2,600 square feet. It was down to the studs, it was plaster, it was disgusting, and it was actually made out of redwood back then. And the guy made $75,000 on the wholesale deal, and I was like, good for you. You know, we ended up making 220, so it was a win-win for all parties. Yeah, except for the poor seller. No, actually, he made out too. But the point is like, I don't generally count wholesalers' money as long as I like to see a minimum of, 15%. I'm a little bit more conservative than most investors. A lot of investors are happy seeing 10, which is 15% for me would be like 70% of my money back, 70% over what I just put in. So we generally like to see 70 to 100% back on our money. And so if the wholesaler, if he's winning and we're winning, that's a great relationship right there, because you guys will probably do a lot of business together.
All right. Any other ways you get deals besides the agents, and anything you do creatively with agents to stand out?
I mean, giving agents 6% makes them so happy.
Yeah.
And then we also do the bonus, like I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
I just think it's really important to take care of real estate agents. That's a big thing. And I've noticed, Dean Higa is another really big investor out here. I mean, he he very much has that kind of abundance, and he's been so successful doing that. And I know he also does, I think what those guys are doing, like
We buy ugly houses.
We Buy Ugly Houses.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to know people in that kind of industry as well. I'm not a big fan of fortune builders. I know a lot of people who went through it. Some people did really, really well, and other people just paid way too much money.
Yeah.
So I think in meeting like-minded investors as well, like I said, if I get something for 10%, I don't want it. So I'll give it to one of my other buddies who's like, I'll do 10% all day.
Yeah. Anyone here wants to do 10%?
Yeah, you know?
Pass it up.
Or, you know, or you have, so it's really good to know other investors because all of our criteria is different.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get overwhelmed, you know, like last quarter, we had 6 projects going on at once, and I was like, no more. Like, I don't want to do any more houses. And so we were giving those deals off to our other investor friends in the neighborhood. We got a deal actually from you, the one on Church.
Really? Which one?
Yeah, the one, it was in a really gnarly part of East Oakland.
I forgot which one was that.
Yeah, we're still, it's like, it had a really bad tenant, had a very bad tenant in it.
Also, I have a bonus coming soon.
Yeah. You do. Yeah, that one was, we're gonna hold that one, but that's one where Oakland, that's another thing, so Oakland has really intense tenant laws. And so it's hard. Another way people have been making money right now is they're doing multi-units. So if you buy a multi-unit for $1 million and the cap rate is, let's say, 5%, that's a 5% return on your capital expenditure, and you have 4 units, you're getting each unit for $2,500. You're making, that's a 10% cap rate. So if you're buying it at a 5% cap rate and you raise the rent, and the tenants are able to come up to that rent, great. If they don't, then they have to be evicted. You renovate the unit, and now you're looking at $2,500 a unit. You're at 10% cap rate. Well, 10% is amazing. So now you can basically make the sales price based on a 5% cap rate. So
Yeah,
now
so it doubles the value. By increasing the rent.
Exactly. So now your $1 million value is now worth 1.5 because you just increased the rent on all these units. And I know many investors who just do that all day long, and they're doing so good.
Multi-units.
Yeah.
How did they get them out?
So I actually have a lot of off-market multi-units if anyone's interested, but they range. There was one investor I was working with. He picked one up in San Mateo. It was 10 units for $3 million, for $3.4 million.
That sounds good, huh?
Yeah, 3.4, and then he increased the rent on each unit only by. I believe it was like $300 on a unit. So he made an additional $3,000 a month. And then sold it just a month ago for 4.4.
4.4? So $1 million spread.
So he, after 6 months holding,
Yeah.
increasing, because he had to give everyone a 90-day notice.
Mm-hmm.
So he ended up making, I think he told me he did like $680 net.
Wow, one deal.
Anyone needs financing for something like that?
Yeah, and that's your multi-unit guy.
Not bad.
Yeah, so that's another great way to make money,
Yeah.
is if you partner with someone, but it's a real big headache if you go into tenant-controlled areas like Oakland, Berkeley, San Francisco. I don't know, you guys have?
San Jose.
You guys don't have?
Some properties.
Some properties do?
Some older, I think old properties or something.
Yeah, I mean, the big,
Yeah, multifamilies in San Jose are under rent control.
If it's certain
Oh,
age,
okay.
right? Is it certain age or?
Yeah, I think it's like 70. Most of them fall under it.
I see.
There's
Most
very
of them.
few that don't.
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I don't,
If this is prior to 1978, then it comes under the.
I see 1978.
yeah, in Oakland it's 1992.
San Mateo was rent control now too.
No way, so he totally,
He will be locked up.
wow, yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
under the wire, because they just changed the law. You didn't even hear, when did San Jose go with that, with the?
They just started going really hard about mid last year, and then Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz is 2018.
They just did like an emergency.
A couple months ago, yeah.
We're in
But
contract with a
up
couple of
until
them.
Part of that was vacancy decontrol, and now, I don't think you can move people out and raise their rents anymore in San Jose, can you?
There's ways
Yeah.
to circumvent
There's
it,
ways,
but
but you gotta,
yeah.
You can't just go in there and give them a notice to vacate.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Last
no
year
more
you
no
could,
cause
now you can't.
eviction.
I mean, we had one guy, he did a 16 unit in Oakland, and he was able to get, based on market rent and how many years that their rent wasn't increased, he was able to increase it at a certain amount. 11 people vacated, so there's 5 left. And he ended up paying each one of those guys $8,000 cash for keys. So it was $40,000, but he included that in his capital expenditure. And he still, I mean, he made out big time on that deal too. So multi-units, Gagne.
Oh.
So that's another really great option that you guys can do is multi-unit. It is definitely a lot more expensive, a lot more capital involved, but if you have the right lenders and good partners, it is a serious moneymaker. I mean, the spreads on them are amazing. Yeah, they're really good.
What do you, what's your opinion on taking, I think it depends on the area in Oakland, right? But taking areas that are designated as maybe like R2s, so you can put 2 units on it, maybe the whole property is a bunch of shacks, and just converting it back to a single family home, like trade off single family home or
you're currently doing one of those,
right?
Yeah, so we're currently in one of those right now, and our timing couldn't have been worse because the city of Oakland is so backed up right now, but we call them granny units. And because there's such low inventory and it's so hard to find residents to live in, and the rents have skyrocketed in our areas by 24% in the last 3 years, the city of Oakland's like really happy to have people do that. And what we found is you gotta know, when you're flipping a house, know who your buyer is. I always tell my agents that, know who your buyer is. So in Oakland, everyone buying in Oakland right now is from San Francisco, and 90% of these guys, 98% of them are in tech. So what I've learned from them is they love it when you convert garages into offices. They make it their office away from home. And that way, you know, if their partner or significant other is not in tech, they don't want to listen to them blabbing on the phone all day. So it's like, go into your office, leave. And so what we have found is that these granny units have increased our sales by 100, 150, 100, $180,000 on some of our homes. So it adds a huge value, and to rehab them is $25,000.
So you'd rather give up the garage and convert it to office space?
Depending on your neighborhood. So if you're in a super high-end neighborhood, for example, the homes are selling over 1.2.
Yeah.
Chances are you're gonna have a nice car and they're gonna want a garage. But if you're in areas where you're between 700 right now, which is hard to find, but 700 to $1 million, and you convert it into, like, for example, we took a garage and we converted it into a 1-bedroom, 1-bath unit. We created its own backyard. That's going to be on the market next month. But our ARV on that one was 800, and we already have agents calling us and saying, we'll pay $950 for it. We're not even done yet. So it's a huge selling point. The other part of it is, you sell that for $1 million, and you're like, hey, that back unit, separate detached unit's renting for $2,500.
Helps cover the loan.
That's half of your mortgage on $1 million house.
Yeah.
So really, you just picked up a house in an area that's $1 million, but really now you're paying $500K for it. And so it's a huge selling point to do that as well. Wherever you can create opportunity or create square footage is great, because you don't create, square footage isn't included in your living space. So now we just added 450 square feet to our house, which isn't as expensive as Los Altos, but it will work.
So going back to that, so even if there's no yard, right? You have your main house, you have the studio in the back, so there's no yard.
Yeah, no yard is rough.
It's rough because then it's not, even to me, someone who wants to buy it as a single family, potentially have rental income, yes. There's no room to have like space or have a family in your single family, right? So, I guess if there's ability to create square footage like in a lower level basement area, right?
We've looked out
knocking down the horrible shack in the back.
Yeah, I mean, we've lucked out to where there's been a pretty decent lot sizes, but I agree with you. I mean, if you're gonna go single family, you're gonna want the lot versus another house back there that's with no lot at all, because that's just gonna kind of kill your value unless you're a true duplex. Other than that, you're probably better off getting yourself a nice, a nice back outdoor space.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is look at the comps in your neighborhood too. See what they're doing, because all neighborhoods are different. If I look at my comps, I'm like, wow, that granny unit, this just sold for $160,000 more than the other homes in the same area that didn't have granny units. That right there tells me this is a moneymaker. But if I'm looking in other areas, I'm like, oh, that didn't really do a whole lot. And I won't touch it. So it's kind of analyzing your marketplace. I always say look at the numbers and look at what your comps are doing, because that's always going to bring you back down to earth.
All right. Can we check out your portfolio and kind of point out
Yeah.
which properties that you learned the most from? So
Oh man, the one I learned the most from was my second rehab of all time.
your second rehab. Let's pull that up. Actually,
I made a terrible mistake of buying a railroad house in
Railroad house?
Yeah,
Where?
in West Oakland, and it was literally just a house on the studs with like siding. It
Yeah.
was so bad, but I turned it into a duplex legally, and
So single family turned into duplex.
yeah,
How long did that take?
took me 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
Pretty long time, huh?
That was a while ago.
So this one's Stanley.
Stanley was one that I consulted and worked on, and my agent did really good on that. And that was actually
3-year-old. Wow.
that was a 3-year-old, so we did really good on that one.
What was the biggest learning lesson one? The one that we can all learn from?
Oh, you can scroll.
See
East
the
20.
spreadsheet? that
This
Diana
one's
showed?
really good too. That one was a big learner. That was
You
the
should all
18.
have that.
East 20.
Almost no one does it.
Yeah.
Okay, East 20. So let's check this out. You bought this for 400,000.
That was a wholesale. Yeah.
So 400,000, and then you put in 147.
Yeah.
For repairs, and you sold it for 750. That's
No,
good.
that was my ARV.
Oh, that's
That's
your
what I
ARV.
sold it for.
Oh, that's really good. 200,000 net.
Yeah.
So, what learning lesson was that one? What's the biggest takeaway?
Jeez, that one was a beast. It had a 50-foot chimney that we had to demo.
50-foot
Um,
Let's check it out.
We had we had to put in 20-foot column beams in that one. It was it was a learning experience from a structural engineering standpoint.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there it is.
So 140,000, not too bad, huh? For all that work.
Yeah, and the wholesalers did really good on that one too.
Yeah. How much did you pay?
No, that's the one where they made 75.
75,000.
Yeah, they did
Wow.
really good. So back then, the signature was the red door.
The red door? Where?
Yeah.
This was in 2000, what is this?
It's a cute house.
Let me look at the history real quick. So you bought this for, what is it, 400? You bought for 400?
Yeah.
And then you put in 150, so now you're at 550. And your ARV was only 750, right?
Yeah.
So from 400 to 750, that's a 350K spread. So you had a pretty good spread already, good cushion.
Yeah, yeah.
Very safe, right?
Told you I'm really conservative.
That's like a 60% rule.
Yeah,
That's a really
that's
low.
the 60% rule, absolutely.
They're really low price. And then you sold it for 890.
Yeah, that one was.
So very good profit. If you only sold it for 750, you'll still make 100 or
We still would
something.
have done well.
Yeah.
I think what people loved about that house, we ended up selling it to the dean of San Jose State University.
Really?
The Spartans, are you guys, is that right? And we took the brick from the chimney and we created a fire pit with it in the backyard.
Yeah.
And then we used it to border the trees, and people just love that. I mean, they just, yeah, so this is,
A nice red door, maybe you like that?
we
Nice
kept the original
columns.
columns. And that's the thing when you're rehabbing something from the 1800s, is you want to keep that charm, but you also, this is where the chimney was.
Right here?
Yeah.
Right here?
Oh, yeah, right here,
Oh, the middle.
where this
is the
mirror
chimney.
is, yeah.
Oh.
So we kept the charm, that classic subway tile look with the, modern conveniences. We kept all the original, oh yeah, that's when the hood wasn't connected yet and they took the photo.
That's a new technology.
Yeah. It's a floating hood, it just floats around your house.
I like this little island for staging.
That was staging, yeah. We always do the farm sinks, people love those.
Yeah, farmhouse sink.
Yeah,
What color was this handle?
that was chrome,
Chrome.
yeah.
Okay. Was this high-end fridge too?
I think it was an LG, I don't think it was super high, that was a Berzoni,
Yeah.
which I later found out has terrible reviews.
So 150,000.
But we kept the like original crown moldings and yeah, so.
Is there anything you would have done different on this one, or you liked that? You liked everything, all the decision making, like the mirrors. You liked everything.
The one, I don't know. What I did was I tried to make it more functional. So
Yeah.
the thing with Victorians is they're so compartmentalized because back then that's the way they saved heat.
Mhm.
But now our generation is so open concept, and so I don't know if I would have changed anything on this. This bathroom was actually connected to the hallway,
Yeah.
and then so there was 3 bedrooms upstairs. So in order to make this a master, then you took away the bathroom from the other 2 bedrooms. So
Yeah.
we made the middle bathroom, we made the middle bedroom a bathroom. So what I wish I would have done is made that the master bathroom because it was so big.
Yeah.
And then the master bathroom was small, and then the guest bathroom was huge. So that's the one thing I would have turned around. Yeah. Yeah.
I like the tiles that all the way up. That's good.
We did the 5-panel door to kind of go with the time.
Yeah.
That was really big back then.
How much is this door?
Those were about $220 a pop.
220. That's bad. 220
Yeah.
for a new door. How
But
much?
we couldn't salvage the old ones. They were
Yeah.
so bad.
Bad.
Yeah, they were so bad.
How much would a cabinet like this cost?
So that vanity we got at a Pacific Home Decor in Hayward,
Yeah.
I believe that was $700.
$700.
Yeah, but I'm sure prices have gone up since then.
Yeah. For the top, for everything, huh? What did you-
Yeah, the countertop. Oh, we got the faucets at Home Depot for $99 each.
99. Looks pretty modern.
Yeah.
Only $99.
And all of our mirrors are IKEA. We love that square.
It's IKEA right here.
Yeah, the mirror.
It's a couple $100.
Yeah.
So you budget accordingly, and everything you did for under 150.
Yeah, for a 2,200 square
For a
foot
big
house.
house,
Yeah.
Very nice. So, you want to talk about your repair process and how you keep the contractors in line and how you pay them?
So the number one thing I hear is, you know, the number one problem you hear with rehabbers is their contracts.
Yeah.
And 9 out of 10 times when a rehabber loses money, it's because of their contractor.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is, sometimes we just have to accept the fact that maybe we're great at rehabbing, but we're not great at project managing, and that's okay. Project management is not for everyone.
Yeah.
And I think it really behooves you to hire someone for $5,000 or $10,000, because you will save thousands of dollars in time having someone with knowledge who can like really balance your sheet and manage your contractors. But again, that takes a lot of trust. You know, some people think I'm crazy, but till this day, if I had, you know, when I had the 6 projects, I was literally going to every house every day, or every other day, just checking on my guys.
Yeah.
And I've been with my same crews for 6 years now, so we have a good relationship, but you know, sometimes they get burned out and they slip, and you just kind of have to watch them. The other thing too is, you don't want to nickel and dime contractors too much, because then they're not going to be motivated to wake up in the morning.
Mhm.
You know, if you wake up in the morning and you're like, I'm not really making that much money on that house, I don't care, you're not going to go.
Right.
So you have to incentivize your contractors. Another thing we do is we do a bonus program with our contractors. We say, listen, if you know we knock this out of the park when we sell it because the craftsmanship and the inspections and everything's beautiful, we're going to give you another $5,000 bonus.
Yeah.
Another thing I do is I put a clause in my contracting contracts.
Yeah.
That was contracting contracts. So what I tell them is, they quote me 6 weeks. I go, okay, great. You finish it in 7 weeks, because contractors are always over. So I go, listen, you do it in 7 weeks, I'll give you $5,000. For every day you're late after a week of that 7 weeks, so starting on the 8th week, for every day you're late, I'm charging you $250 per diem.
$250.
And that keeps them on track.
Yeah.
Another thing, like I know Larissa does with them, is she'll meet with them and she'll go over a calendar, because she meets with the city of Oakland, so she schedules it around the inspections. And so she'll say, listen, you know, we have rough on electrical, plumbing, mechanical on this day. I need to make sure that this is all done by this time tomorrow. So by the time inspections come in, we pass. Once you pass the rough inspections, you're in the fast lane. Everything's just, you zoom ahead. So it's really getting through that initial getting through the initial part of the rough inspections that, slows a lot of rehabbers down. So with contractors, you always want to get referrals if you don't know them. If they're referred by a friend, that's the best way. But you always want to keep track of who you're working with. I've heard people telling me they're going to Home Depot and picking up guys. Those guys don't know a whole lot. And they're charging $24 an hour now, so, they're making more than, graduates. So, and a lot of them, they just don't really know how to, maybe they're good at framing, but they don't know plumbing, they don't know electrical. So you really want people who specialize in what they're doing. My favorite quote is, if you think it's expensive hiring a professional, wait till you hire an amateur. Because it's true, they will hold you back, they'll cost you a lot of money, and then you're gonna go way over budget. The other thing is being realistic about your budget, knowing what things cost. So I've been doing this for so long, I can walk into a house and say, okay, that's a $3,500 bathroom, that's a $10,000 kitchen. So it's really that experience too. One of the things we used to do is, the rule of thumb is, I don't know what the costs are out here, but people think it's crazy that I get $70 a square foot right now. But a lot of good rehabbers who manage their projects are getting $70 a square foot. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, or rehab, remodel.
A lot of them are. I mean, you talk to a lot of guys out there that are doing this. 70 is not outlandish. It's actually pretty common.
Even in San Francisco, even in other expensive areas?
San Francisco is more because the city is way more strict, and then you have a little bit more pushback with their city.
Yeah.
Like, for example, in Oakland, you can do builder owner pull permit, and you could do GC, so general contractor can do everything. They can do electrical, plumbing, mechanical, HVAC. In San Francisco, electrical has to be an electrician, plumbing has to be a plumber, so they're way more strict over there. Yeah, which is I think is good.
We should also in Oakland.
Yeah. No more in Oakland.
We're gonna go to Oakland tomorrow for our training. We're gonna buy a house tomorrow. But any more questions as we try to wrap up? It's getting pretty late, 9:30 is past my bedtime too. Any final questions that you want to ask Ed? Yes.
I really enjoyed that sliding, the scrolling aspect of your website.
Oh yeah.
If you, can I ask where you got that done?
I can ask my partner, she made it. Yeah, I'll give you my business card, because I want to talk to you guys about wholesaling too. So maybe we'll trade wholesaling for that information.
One deal for that code. Any more questions? And then, is Rick still here in the back?
There.
Rick's here?
Yep, right here.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Rick, you want to talk about your group?
Just pull up the Bay Area website real quick.
Website, okay.
BAREWG.
So Rick also has a meetup.
Thanks, guys.
BAREWG.
BAREWG.
So, we're actually doing a lot of stuff right now. Anybody, actually my name is Rick Steiner, I've been in construction for 27 years. Commercial in the last 4 years, $45 million in commercial real estate, building 7 stores in San Francisco right now. Love to hear your story. It's like San Francisco, I love San Francisco. Nothing more. It's, I get into San Jose and some other ones myself. I love San Francisco. It's crazy, crazy, and crazy. So we're building a CVS store. Anyway, with that said, construction is what I know. I got into partner with Tom back in, what's that, July?
July, yeah.
July. Partner with a lot of people. How many people have been to the Bay Area BAREWG? Nobody raise your hand? For all those that, let me ask you a question. Was it valuable? Yes. Raise your hand if it was valuable. Did you learn something? What we are is, we actually hold people, we're an education based, so don't go if you don't want to be educated. You don't want to be accountable, and if you, we run side by side. I absolutely love this business. I love real estate. I love partnering and mentoring with people that are walking the talk. Does that make sense? People that are doing what they're saying is really what we're about. We have education, properties, income, community, and mentorship. Tom is actually one of the 5 stars. 5 stars, I'm one of the 5 stars. There's about 7 or 8 5-star people that are really that are mentoring, training, teaching, and educating. So I just want to invite you to explore Bay Area Weekly Real Estate Mastermind Group, and come out, keep coming out, keep coming out, and keep coming out. You'll learn something every single week. One week you'll learn a little bit about velocity banking, another week you'll learn about iOS, one week you'll learn about wholesaling, another week you'll learn about fix and flips, and we always have someone else speaking every single week. So can you share a little bit? What's that? Mary? Bernard? So Bernard's one of the guys that's actually doing wholesaling. Tom's doing a fix and flips. David's doing multifamily. So a lot of the people that come, they keep coming back every single week. That's what's so important about us, is that every single week you're coming back and educating yourself. So with that said, you can go to the website. We have a lot of events. Saturday we have, Tom's doing a fix and flip, doing knocking doors. I have an event, it's an 8-hour live streaming video on, Mark Kohler's doing a education training on taxes, legal. He's an attorney and a tax consultant, so we're learning all about that on Saturday. Tom's actually doing something on Saturday, doing a knocking doors. The following Saturday on the 10th, we're right back here for $25. You can actually learn wholesaling, fix and flips, and then we're actually going and knocking doors as well. Then after we knock doors, we come back here, we experience, we actually share with what we learn, and some they didn't get shot. So yes, you get all the time. You get everything. I mean, it's crazy. Knock on the door and you get something like one's nice, and you won't leave for 10 minutes. And another one, you get that attitude, and that's okay. That's okay. The more no's you get, it's one more closer to a yes. Yes. So it's just a numbers game. Huh?
Should we bring our best?
Bring your best. Right. Bring your best.
And you're good.
So and you're good. So, yeah, and you're good. So anyway, with that said, so that's going to be on the 10th is here, on the 3rd here.
Yes.
And we're there every single week.
Every Thursday.
Every Thursday.
Yes.
VEREWMG. And
Yes.
there's videos, trainings, all kinds of stuff that we're actually putting there. So,
Yeah,
and I want to say thank you to Tom.
Thank you. Thank you.
I wouldn't have done
Thank
my
you,
first.
Diana, and,
I wouldn't have done my first wholesale deal for 50 grand.
Yeah.
I put out for him and that guy back there. That John started those wholesale.
We really want to educate every single week. So learn Thursday at Rick's Place, learn Saturday, every single week. Keep on learning. We want you to get your first deal. That's our goal. We're successful if you're successful. So we want to share everything. Thank you, Diana, again. That was a lot of good information.
That was awesome.